literally moments ago. Just my first video or video show off of the Assassin's Blade. It's thrust actuated, so you push out the arm. I'll show you. I still missed it. Pull back on the string. I've got a keyring attached to it because it kept tightening on my finger, cutting circulation. So pull on it like that. It'll pull back on the locking mechanism. Not much, but that tiny little motion is enough to let it go back in. It's fairly sturdy. Yeah, I'll give you a tutorial now. So let's take it off. I'm not putting it back on this video, so that's all you're going to see of it being used. See, I've got some duct tape on there. Right, let's start from the very beginning. It was just a jaw slide. There was a bigger bracket on the bottom. Just slide it on. So right at the back here, I've got my screws. There was like a black bit that you could clip into. Take the black bit off, fold it down. This is the same on almost every single draw slide. Just fold the metal down. It's going to take a hammering or some pliers, whatever you want to call them. Just bend it around. You want it completely straight, and therefore you can take the middle, which is this one, and the inner one. You want to be able to slide them both out. They are the only parts you're going to be using, unless you have an absolutely huge friend that you make them all for. Unless you're huge yourself. I have a huge friend, I'm making all for him. But yeah, so I've got the middle one, smaller one. Then, first things first, I'd say would be the screws at the back. See that? You want something to stop it, so that and you can attach a spring to it. Get right up close for you. So you want some sort of screw at the bottom. You want it to go through the middle and not through the upper one. So the middle slide, the one that you're using at the bottom, you want the screw to go through it, but this inner slide here needs to be free flowing, like that. So if you can have a look down there, it's just gone through the middle slide. Okay. Buy some springs, put a spring on it. I had a huge box of springs for £5, so all sorts of sizes. I found that the really thick ones were the best ones, so although they're small, I used lots of small ones. Just interlinked them. Second of all, right, this is quite an important bit. You can't just stick this anywhere. Don't have to use Lego, could just be a small screw. I found that gluing Lego down was easy than gluing a screw into it. Usually the screw would be the wrong size, so you've got to cut it, and I didn't have any equipment to cut through a screw, so I just used Lego. Put a screw, I don't know if you can see the screw in there, that's a load of hot glue. That's what I stick everything together in this. I've either got tape, the belt to keep it on my arm, or hot glue. Hot glue is really important, you need to go buy that. Hot glue gun. Saying that, I bought the wrong hot glue size and it just messed it all up. But yeah, so screw to the Lego onto that, and I'll take it all the way up here for you. There was a hole in the bottom, already like this, but vertical. So I put the screw through that, glued the Lego brick down, and at the moment it should literally just go like that, no lock on it whatsoever. Just completely free flowing, because you've got your springs attached to that and that. High point of this is to have a spring attached to the top slider and a spring on the middle slider, so the top one gets pulled back every time it's released. Okay. Many different people have come up with different locking mechanisms. I've never found anyone on YouTube that gave me this particular locking mechanism, completely original, and it took me ages to find out. I was using paper clips that were bending and all sorts, it just didn't work. The best one I saw was of a saw blade. and the saw blade was cut into a long strip up here, all the way up, and then bent at a 90-degree angle. That's the best one I saw on here, and it was just fixed down here, so it had lots of room to move in and out. And they drilled a hole through it and had rope on it and as such. I tried cutting through a saw, didn't work. Pretty hard, pretty flexible, can't snap it. Didn't know what to do. I found one of these. I'll give you a side on view. Don't know if you recognise it, but haven't really got a better one to show you. They're literally just clamps. They're used in, like, when you do the surveys, they have a clipboard, and the clip on top is one of them clamps. That's what I've used there. Just found some in my room, probably worth going out and buying. They're really not expensive. Took one out, so this end's just got none of that little clippy bit in. Actual clips here, clamp, whatever you want to call it, so that it's facing out. The handle that you use to pinch to open it up, open this bit here up, is now facing down. And what I did is I bent it up, lots of glue, stuck it down underneath, lots of glue on this side particular, because you don't want this metal bit touching the metal, but you want it as close as possible to touching it, without having to push it down. When it's close as possible to touch the metal here, this bit here, but you don't want it actually touching, and you don't want to be pushing it down to hold it there. Once you've got there, glue over the top, keep it there, glue all the way over here, lots and lots, get the rope, put it on top, glue into it and make it sink in, put more glue over the top, wrap it round. That's what I found helped most, so I wrapped it round that, glued it all in place, but always making sure it's not quite touching the metal. See how much little space there is there, that when this comes along, okay, it touches it, but it just slides straight past it. When it comes back, it locks. Can you see that screw in there? Little screw. I'll do that. There, look. It goes past, but goes and locks in. So you go, and you pull this back, and it goes straight in. So that is the tutorial. That's once you got it to that. That's as far as I've got so far. The plan to add a blade is coming up. Cutting it about in half. You only want about 2 inches from your Lego block. In them 2 inches, space out 2 holes. You don't want it too close to each other, but also you want to keep this as small as you possibly can without it being too close. So a good inch in between the holes is good. Don't want it right next to the Lego block, you want it about here. So yeah, cut it, smoothing it down. That's probably going to touch your hand, touch your wrist, so you don't want it all sharp. Once you've done that and you've got the 2 holes in, you can then go to pretty much any store, sharp knife, kitchen, whatever. Take the sharp knife. I think my idea was to just hammer the handle, and once you've hammered it all out, you'll find it's a steel knife, really thin piece of metal that's just carved into a knife at one end, and the other end have 2 or 3 holes in it. Them 2 or 3 holes will be here. This is when you want to drill the holes in, so you know exactly how far you've got to drill it, because if the holes are that big on the knife, you drill them that close or like that close, it's not going to fit. So get the knife, measure it up, drill the holes. One more thing, the knife cannot be thicker than this. Any thicker, it will get jammed when entering the middle one. So the inner one is the thickness of the blade. It will have either 1 curve, 2 curves. I know many people that have had just a rectangle of aluminium, and they've carved into it by I think use a bench grinder, and just get it all the way till it's a point here, all the way to a point here, and then sharpen the sides until it gets really nice and sharp. Same on the other side, and it's a double bladed one, which is ideally the best, but not many people have a bench grinder or go out and buy a plate of aluminium. So there you go. And I don't mean aluminium foil before you get any of them ideas. Just noticed my Lego blocks starting to come off. They break very, very easily. but if you've made one yourself, you know exactly how to fix it. There's no problem there. That's about it really. That's the tutorial done. Happy making your assassin blade. Explaining the tape quickly. It kept catching on my wrist, as you can see. This bit here wasn't too comfortable. This is where the screws were sticking out a bit. There was some glue on top of it, so it's a bit scratchy. Some tape solved that. Still not great, but yeah. These bits here are a bit pointy. Tape over that, great. Duct tape, best thing for anything. Man's best friend. There you go. Happy making. Enjoys.